Ah. Mm. Mm. 13th of August, 1721. My dear, calling you dear doesn't feel enough, but as you know, I'm not very good with words. I am delighted to have received your bonne lettre, knowing that you are happy, everlastingly gazing at the sun, and that our furry boys and girls have been misbehaving. I am keeping myself busy, carrying on with a facade project, and, although it's not finished, I decided to start working on its front gate. I hope it won't turn too pompous, but yet again, why not? In the meantime, I've also been adding more mignons to the collection, a soldier and a king. It's been amusing because I'm allowing myself to spread wings towards creativity instead of focusing upon potential known imagery cliches. Cliches are sometimes good because one does want others to visually recognize what's there, but yet it becomes boring, as there isn't much space for pure creativity. Which reminds me to share that I did get a commission by mail. It's from a dear and angelic person who was kind enough to remember me. Working for such an endearing soul is always pleasant because one of the things that most bore her to death are cliches. So one is always free to do n'importe quoi, which is often fun and liberating. At the moment, and because it's nice and warm, I tend to work with sculpture during the day and paint by night. Despite the constant and confusing lockdowns, my front door has been excessively overcrowded. One of these days, oh, you won't believe it, I saw a carriage approaching. It was clearly an old-fashioned one. No coat of arms painted on its doors, no footman besides the coachman, skilly mules dragging the old box. Once near my door, as I went toward to inquire and present my respects, an old hag came out of it, screaming that I owed her money. Her high-pitched voice entered my poor ears as if needles. She kept screaming that I would either give her the money or paint whatever she had asked for. I refused the second, so I gave her the candies she was longing for. Luckily for me, I had been fully paid up front for the commission above mentioned, and even had to take a small loan from a close friend, just to shut her up for good. Needless to say, I'm penniless again. Ah, the life of an artiste. But there she went, and that's what matters. Also, at my front door one of these days there was a footman with a note stating that I had something waiting for me chez Customs, and that in order to have it I would need to pay. What? I've stated. Didn't have the faintest idea of having ordered anything whatsoever, and having to pay? Was this a scam? But there I went, and recognized the signature in the parcel, so I took it. But having to pay custom services? That's new. Having still good relations at court, I promptly wrote to the High Courier himself, who, despite having a somewhat melancholic nature, answered, "If you're not happy with it, go and talk with the king directly." Ha ha! Funny. As if we would be allowed to distress his majesty with such petty subject matter. Before the plague, Don Luis, this high courier, was often kind enough to invite me to join his entourage chez his lavish country house in Lorch. In return, I was kind enough to make his bust. Regardless of what pops up at my door, I still get sudden somber thoughts about myself, my existence, why this, why that. Sometimes I feel I should have an extra pair of hands, not in order to be able to create more to try and please others, but to simply create in order to please God and thus fulfill my mission as a humble artist. Would you believe my hands sometimes even hurt when I think I'm not doing enough? I do take pleasure in remembering our adventures. Some days ago I was having breakfast by my fig tree and joyfully recalled the first time I ever had figs with you, walking up a sand dune at the beach indeed. Oh, we were so hungry. That was for sure a miracle. I even thought of doing some sculptures of figs one of these days. Oh well, thank you for feeding my memories and my heart with hope for better days. For sure I must leave the house more often. Back to work now. Do apologize my poor English. Adieu, oh adieu. Forever yours, P.